Welcome into Titans Today. I am Tom Downey, and that was not a fun game for the Tennessee Titans. I guess it was fun for the first half, and then it all kind of unraveled and fell apart in very painful fashion. Tennessee coming up short against the Chicago Bears, mostly due to self-inflicted mistakes that we'll talk about on today's show. We'll do some overreactions, Will Levis, etc. for today's video. But I want you guys to grade the Titans in Week 1 against the Bears. A, B, C, D, or F. Probably going to be more low grades than high grades. Before we get into my overreactions from Week 1, let me know how you graded Tennessee in the first game of the NFL season. Overreaction number 1, I think Will Levis struggled. And yeah, this is not an overreaction. There were good plays. I do want to emphasize that early on here. There were some flashes like, okay, he can do some good stuff for you. He can be a potential franchise guy. But he really made some big mistakes down the stretch. The pick six, of course, probably most notable, that sunk your chances of winning the football game. Levis was 19 of 32 for just 127 passing yards. Now, offenses around the NFL struggled. That's not unique to the Tennessee Titans. The passing offenses in particular had a rough showing. But although he ran the ball well, showcased some nice throws, I think there's still some pocket presence question marks with Will Levis. Sometimes I think he's too willing to stand in there, and there are times like I just want him to kind of step up, avoid the pocket a little bit more frequently. And as we saw on film back at Kentucky, like most quarterbacks, pressure is where he gets into trouble. Under pressure against the Bears, per NFL Pro Stats, 5 of 13 for 61 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Look, most quarterbacks are worse against pressure. I think there is plenty of blame to go towards the offensive line. The left side, great run blocking, not so much pass protection. J.C. Latham, Peter Skoronski, too, unfortunately, had some struggles in that particular matchup. Look, it is just Week 1 for Tennessee, for Levis. It is a long, long season, and there were flashes of good play. There were some good throws out there from Levis. I think he and Ridley, when they connected, there were a couple misses there. You can blame whoever you want to blame. It's not just one player, etc. Overall, that looked pretty good. It is a season-long race for the Tennessee Titans and for Will Levis. This is not going to be an overnight thing. It is going to take time. And next week, it's all about seeing growth, seeing progress in your young QB. We want to know that he can be a franchise guy, or at minimum, worst case, know that he is not. I think most of the supporting cast is in place to figure that out, but there's got to be growth from Will Levis as we move forward. So what is your confidence level after one game in Will Levis as the Titans' future at quarterback? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Go vote. Switch to the ad comes here on YouTube. Overreaction number 2. The Titans' defense is just straight up really good. I think there is plenty of reason to believe this. It is also just the one game, etc. Tennessee played great in this matchup. Like they allowed 148 yards. Caleb Williams had nothing going at all on offense. The number 1 pick, the savior of Chicago, he wasn't very good. We can call it what it was, 14 of 29 for 93 yards. That's bad. Sorry. Can argue that Will Levis outplayed him, even with the unfortunate struggles on the interceptions and turnovers there. Now, to throw some caution to the wind here, or I guess prevent caution being thrown to the wind. Offenses around the NFL struggled. The passing offenses in particular did not fare very well. I think excitement after Week 1, absolutely valid. I do think what we're going to see in the first month overall of September is going to be highly insightful. I think the next 3 games could end up telling us a lot. Now, I emphasize the could aspect there because it's not necessarily one-to-one. The Jets in Week 2, I think, will be a pretty good game, assuming, knock on wood for his sake, Aaron Rodgers' Achilles doesn't betray him again. The Packers in Week 3, I don't know if Jordan Love's going to be out there, so that game suddenly looks a little bit easier. Dolphins in Week 4, that game will be a test. That is a very high-powered offense. I think we'll know how good this Titans defense actually is once we get through Week 4. Now, speaking of that Jets game, if you want to go to the game, if you're a Titans fan, make sure you're using the Game Time app. Game Time has a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats so you don't waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You can find zone deals, flash deals, super deals, etc., all designed to help save you money. And Game Time's guarantee is this: if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of your purchase. So it's no reason not to use Game Time, because no matter what, you're going to end up getting the best deal. So download the Game Time app today, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today, because what time is it? It's Game Time. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Overreaction number 3, Tony Pollard is your number 1 running back. Now, I don't think this is an overreaction. I do know and acknowledge that Brian Callahan said today that he wants to get more of an even split there. Pollard played really well. I don't know if you want to do that. The snap counts in the end were not that different. And despite that, I think the usage and the impact very clearly were different. Pollard was just simply better than Tyjae Spears. Pollard, 16 carries, 82 yards, a 5.1 average, 1 touchdown. Had a really nice long run, by the way, too. Spears only got 4 carries. Did go for 21 yards. Frankly, I wonder if you would have been better served running the ball even more. You also kind of balance a passing attack, having one that exists, etc. But I liked what I saw on the ground from Pollard especially, but I think Spears was also pretty solid. So pick a running back 1 for me. P for Tony Pollard, S for Tyjae Spears. Who do you think is the number 1 back in Tennessee? Sound off in the comments of today's show. Overreaction number 4, the special teams needs fixing. They were not special, at least not in the good way. I think this is the only possible reaction. Look, the kicking game was fine. You took care of business. You handled all of your field goals there. There were some significant mistakes in this football game that helped the Tennessee Titans blow that 2-score lead. They had the blocked punt touchdown, which is brutal. There's 7 points. They had a 66-yard kick return that helped lead to more points for the Chicago Bears. And your punting game wasn't very good either. Ryan Stonehouse boomed some punts at like a 50-something yard average or 40-yard average with one not-so-great punt mixed in there. It was a fair catch. The net punting, though, was 34 yards. Bottom 5 in the NFL. That's not good. So the special teams miscues, the mistakes, have to be ironed out as we get into week 2 and beyond. Well, guys, we will have videos for you guys every week, all season long, all off-season long, preseason long. You want Titans coverage, we got you covered. We will do overreactions on Monday, recap the game, do weekly coverage too. Of course, off-season stuff when we get to that. The good, the bad, the ugly will be here. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/Titans today. Seen some of this already. Season's over. Titans are bad. They're cooked. It's not going to be a good team. It is an overreaction as far as I'm concerned. Now, that's not to say you can't feel bad. If it is a somber Monday in your household, I get that. I know that loss sucks. I really thought they had that game. I'm like, oh boy, they're gonna extend the number 1 pick losing streak, and it all kind of went belly up in the end. But it's a long season. If you just play it in the first half of the game, you win that game by 2 or 3 or 4 scores. So that's what should give you some confidence of they've showed the ability to do stuff like this, to have success. Still more room to grow, of course. Now, what matters here is how you respond, how you bounce back from a disappointing performance. Some stats here across the NFL. When losing in week 1, 26% of the teams made the playoffs. 25% of them won the division, which is kind of funny how that's an almost even split there. Another 25% ended up being the number 1 seed. Now, it's a low bar, not that many seeds to go around, but that's since 2020, so it's a small sample size. So what that means is, for your playoff hopes, you need to start winning. Starting the year 0-2, those odds plummet. 0-3, borderline non-existent. With that said, this year is not just about the playoffs for the Titans. It's not. It's a multi-year plan in Tennessee. It is a multi-year plan about maximizing what you have in Will Levis. It is not an all-in, all-or-nothing last year of the window. This is the first year of this new regime. It's going to take time. It's going to take some ups and downs. And I know there were some major downs in week 1. That happens. But I wouldn't be panicking too much yet on Tennessee. It's a long season. I think Indy and Houston and Jacksonville all looked pretty beatable week 1. Can't count out Tennessee quite yet.